Councilmember Priscilla Tyson and Chair of the committee. Before we begin, please be aware that tonight's hearing is being recorded for rebroadcast on CTV, the Columbus Government Television Channel 3. The rebroadcast schedule is available at www.columbus.gov. The purpose of tonight's hearing is to allow Columbus City residents an opportunity to offer their perspective on the mayor's 2018 proposed operating budget. The proposal for the general operating fund is $890,600,000. This budget will fund services and programs that are vital to the lives of our residents. On December 31st of 2017, former City Auditor Dorian issued a letter notifying the mayor and City Council that there is $3.4 million available in carryover funds. City Council will be working with the community to identify the best use of those funds. Further, the public comment hearing promotes transparency. In addition to tonight's hearing, there were 12 public hearings held last month on the budget. We want to ensure that people who live in the city are aware of what is going on and how their tax dollars are being invested. As I mentioned, we began hearings on the budget last month. Columbus is one of the best managed cities in the entire country. We remain one of the largest cities in America to receive a AAA bond rating from all three major credit rating agencies. We also continue to set aside in this budget money in our rainy day fund. We are on track to reaching our $75 million balance in the rainy day fund by year-end 2018. We have established a new goal of $80 million by the end of 2020. I believe that it is important that we continue to highlight these points because it demonstrates that our city is financially stable and we continue to seek efficiencies that will allow us to meet the needs of the community. Before starting, I want to recognize that many of our department directors are here to answer any questions that may come up. I also want to recognize Councilmember Elizabeth Brown for being at the hearing this evening. We will now entertain public comments and questions on the mayor's 2018 budget proposal. And our first speaker tonight is Tom Katzenmeyer, representing the Greater Columbus Arts Council.
Thank you, Council Member Tyson and Brown. And I thought I saw Mitch Brown here too, but he must have, in case he comes back, he'll be back. Okay. So I'm Tom Katzenmeyer. I'm presidency of the Greater Columbus Arts Council. On behalf of our board, our staff, thanks for providing us the opportunity this evening. With me tonight are Jamie Goldstein, who's in charge of events and marketing for the Arts Council, and Kayla Green, who you know both these folks well. Kayla's in charge of administration for us. So they're here to take questions if you have questions for us. I'm going to give you just a quick overview, and I want to start by telling you that we really believe in strategic investment and improving access to Arts Council programs. That was our focus in 2017. That's going to continue to be our focus in 2018. The increased support for the Arts Council from the bed tax has been invested in strengthening current programs, and this has allowed us to launch new and needed programs and grow support and services for organizations and artists. So in 2017, our support for organizations grew 8.8% over the previous year due to the record year of the bed tax. We awarded 61 grants in operating and project support for a total of $4.1 million. Each dollar invested by the City of Columbus through the Arts Council in support of these arts and cultural projects sees a return of $28.80 to the local economy through other income. So every dollar brings back $28.80. In addition to this, it supports more than 750,000 opportunities for Columbus school children to learn through and engage in the arts. We also have new economic impact numbers. In 2016, we began a research project with Americans for the Arts. To update that, the results were released in June of last year, 6 months ago. We brought that information over at the time, but I want to remind you, it's clear that the arts and culture sector in Central Ohio is a major contributor to the economy here, with nearly $500 million in economic activity annually, supporting 14,980 jobs, so 15,000 jobs, and generating $373 million in household income and returning $21.2 million in local government revenue. In addition, the I love to use these statistics, the 91 cultural nonprofits participating in the study had an attendance of more than 6 million people, which is 1.6 times that of all Columbus home sports, both professional and collegiate. So nonprofit arts attendance is 1.6 times that of sports, including OSU football, basketball, the Blue Jackets, the Crew, the Clippers, etc. Also, as you know, the Arts Council produces the Columbus Arts Festival each year. We estimate 450,000 people come down to that. We had spectacular weather this year, as you all remember, on the riverfront for 3 days. It's a completely privately supported event. There's no city money in that. We saw a 48% increase in sponsorship in 2017. It's a $1 million event now. AEP is the lead underwriter of that event. And the festival next year is going to be June 8th, 9th, and 10th. You'll hear more about that as we get closer. We're also wrapping up the 3rd year of the Art Makes Columbus campaign, which is a private-public sector partnership. We've increased the number of featured artists to 55, and our 32 featured artist videos were viewed more than 132,000 times. Earned media efforts saw more than 1,700 print, online, and broadcast placements locally, regionally, and nationally, with nearly 1 billion impressions and a publicity value of more than $6.4 million. So again, that's a $500,000 annual marketing campaign for the arts in Columbus. Half of it is coming from city bed tax proceeds. The other half we are raising from corporations to leverage that money. We also presented the 2nd annual Columbus Open Studio and Stage in October. The event gives people a peek into the creative process through self-guided studio and stage tours. We had new community partners. Ticket sales grew 23%, and art sales notably reached nearly $30,000. So the artists on that tour that weekend sold $30,000 worth of art. We're going to do that again this year, September 29th and 30th. We also support a lot of diverse programs. A couple that I would call out. One is Holler. I think you all know Scott Woods, who's actually become a good friend of ours over the course of the last couple years. He did 31 days of black art in the month of March. It was spectacular programming, and actually he received the Columbus Makes Art Excellence Award at our Arts Partnership Awards luncheon in October. We also are working very closely with Larry James and 14, 15 other arts organizations to present the 100th anniversary of the Harlem Renaissance this year. That kicks off next month with a performance called Dream at Shadowbox Live. So we're going to have an entire year of programming. I think cultivated by an exhibition at the Art Museum that Will Haygood is curating and writing the piece on. So you're going to hear a lot more about that. We also continue to support the efforts to grow the economic impact of film and music by supporting the Film Commission. We give them office space and other shared services, and we've assisted with the formation of the Columbus Music Commission, which you have also funded here. Our longtime community collaboration with WSU on Broad and High is exporting Columbus to the nation, to other PBS stations. We've had more than 20 stories picked up by other PBS affiliates in the last year. So kind of in summary, every day we connect Columbus organizations and artists with resources. We convene conversations around new ideas and collaborations. We share best practices. We help the organizations and artists thrive. There's really not a day that goes by that we don't have somebody in the office asking for advice on how to do something, and we love those meetings. We gladly take those meetings. The arts ignite talent, tourism, diversity, and dialogue, and all those efforts together support our community in very important ways. Tourism, education, job creation, talent attraction and retention. So as always, we are grateful to Mayor Ginther and Columbus City Council for the funding and all the individuals, corporations, and community partners who support our work in the arts. I want to close by making a comment about Experience Columbus. I think they might be coming to speak tonight also. We have an incredible bond with that organization, and in fact, on Friday, we jointly submitted a bid to try to get the National Arts Marketing Partnership Convention here in 2020, which is a 700-person convention, and we're also working very closely with Experience Columbus on the ASAE meeting, which is coming in 2019. As you know, we traveled to Toronto with them, and we'll be in Chicago with them this year, and we're going to help stage that and actually help fund that event next year. So we couldn't be happier with our partners at Experience Columbus. That concludes my remarks. We'd be glad to take any questions.
Excuse me. Thank you, Tom, for certainly coming down and just sharing the importance of the Greater Columbus Arts Council. Certainly it is an art just improves individuals' quality of life. Besides all the other numbers that you shared with us, is why this is a wonderful investment. When you think about for every dollar that is invested, it brings $28.80 into this community. When you think about the 750,000 children, school children that have the opportunity to be involved in the arts, which can then get them excited about the arts, gets them excited about school. So just really, and the 15,000 jobs in our community, which is significant. And so just really do appreciate your work, your leadership, and just hope my colleagues will support this budget and continue to support GCAC. And again, I also thank you for your comments in regards to the work with Experience Columbus, because we know that it's a great partnership between Experience Columbus and GCAC. GCA and Experience Columbus's role is to ensure that we have great tourism is successful in our community, that they're bringing different, conventions here, but they come here because they can also promote the great arts organizations in Columbus. So it's a great partnership. I know that you did not mention the other part of this. I think it's three of us. It's the arts, it's Experience Columbus, and the nonprofit organizations all working together. So thank you for your leadership.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Minister Ashe. Good evening.
Good evening. Giving honor to God and to Councilwoman Tyson and to Councilwoman Elizabeth Brown. I stand here with mixed emotion. I'm a minister in the scriptures. There's a scripture in the book of Luke, chapter 16, about a rich man, and he wouldn't give the crumbs to the poor man named Lazarus. And Jesus, Yahshua, if you want to speak the Hebrew, Jesus said that the rich man died and Lazarus died as well. And the rich man lifted up his eyes in the flames. The rich man perished in the flames not because he was a murderer or an evildoer or rapist or an arsonist or a drug dealer. He perished in the flames because he was a greedy person and he didn't help the poor person. I stand here going all the way back to the Honorable Jim Roseborough, to Dr. John Roseman, to the Honorable Jerry Hammond when they were on council. I go way back to the 70s, early 70s. And we got a few things done. We even had a great chief of police. We had all kinds of things that went on. And then things have kind of fallen off. And our communities are in disarray. I live in South Linden, 1119 East 16th Avenue. I was here last night. I'm glad you invited us to come to this hearing. I commend Mr. Shooney, who's doing a great job with the Department of Development. He's been very helpful in many ways. At this point, we have a housing project that we really need to get off the ground to employ about 50 unemployed persons, carpenters, plumbers, people in the community that don't have jobs. We can do drywall and that kind of thing. I have a nonprofit. I have a 501c3 nonprofit, Masjid Al-Jami, which is registered with the Secretary of State of Ohio, 501c3. I know we have a $3 million surplus left over from last year. Even if we had just a small portion of that, maybe a third of that, or a portion of that, we could employ these persons and get off the ground, because we're starting at level 0. The playing field is not level. We can't compete with the corporations and the rich persons that go and view these houses as we view the houses, and they get the funds. They have the funds to buy all of these houses, and they have like 5 or 6 houses on each street, 16th, 17th, 18th, all in the Linden area on the east side and the west side. We can't compete with them because we have nothing to compete with, basically. And we're starting from ground 0, and we need the help from someone in the budget that you have, the capital improvements budget or the surplus from last year. We need some help, just like the rich man wouldn't help Lazarus. We're Lazarus. The dogs are licking our sores. Our children are dying in record numbers. Basically, people don't have money. We're going to food pantries where we just can't make it the way that we are. Unless we get some homeowners and some people to actually have some pride in the neighborhoods, it's going to stay the same way for a long time. Thus, I am here this evening to implore you to try and help us get off the ground with some of our local housing projects, with maybe some of the surplus money that's left over from last year, maybe the capital gains money, or any kind of funds that we can have or use through our 501c3. This is a very serious matter. We live in a food desert. As I said yesterday, our one major grocery store is closing at Northern Lights. The Kroger store is leaving. We have only 2 health clinics in the Linden area, one in the north and one in the south. Yet we have, 40, 50,000 people that live in the Linden area. We have worked with Catholic social services. We've worked with Lutheran social services. But at the same time, we need some help from the city. We need a leg up. We need to level the playing field. Councilman Stenziano did give me yesterday what I had asked for our Linden Community Stakeholders Trust, the best practices information. It's 130 pages, and I've got to go through that. But whatever you can do, I would really appreciate it if you can help us get this housing project off the ground. We have several other projects. I told you about the gold mining project, the urban mining project with that's not smelting. I'm trying to keep Columbus Micro in town. I've got some other projects, doing a lot of big things. But we need some help basically right now with the housing project for the homeless veterans, the people coming back from the prisons, the returning citizens, the mothers with the children with the high infant mortality rate. We really, really, really need some help. So thank you for
Thank you.
for the time.
Mr. O'Shea, just kind of provide some information. So one, the program that you have, that our office will reach out to you to talk about this initiative, and then depending on which initiatives you want to focus on, we'll then make sure that we will share that information with my council colleagues, and they too could reach out to you based upon their area of expertise, or their committee that they chair. And just want to share with you that, the Department of Neighborhoods certainly is a department that is looking into a number of the issues that you have talked about tonight. And so maybe there's a connection between you and Director Carla Williams-Scott. I don't know, she's not in the chair tonight. I think it's Derek is in the chair. Can't see past you, but I think that's who's over. Look, I think that's who's in the chair this evening. But there's also, we would like to get back with you and talk about these initiatives, because I know they talked about infant mortality, talked about housing. There's a number of areas. And we will get back with you to talk about your initiative and the other initiatives that you talked about this evening.
Well, we really appreciate it. Like I said, you stand in the shoes of some very tall persons, on the shoulders of very tall persons. Dr. Roseman, Mr. Roseborough, Jerry Hammond. Those were some giants in this city, and they really did a lot for the city of Columbus. And those are the shoes that you are filling now, and I believe that you've done a good job to this point. So we support you, and we love you, and we thank God for you. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Council, any questions? Okay. All right. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice, but The next speaker will be, let's see, Michael Brown, Linda Logan, Jody Beckman, Robert Sheaton. I don't know who's going to be speaking, but from Experience Columbus. Good evening.
Council members, Brown and Tyson, it's great to be here again. Thank you. We had a great year in 2017, and as we've just met recently, I don't feel like we have to go through all the statistics, but you know we've got a great year lined up for 2018. I'm joined today by our board chair, Robert Shenton, as Brian Ross is fighting for us in Nashville today at PCMA, where I believe a great contingent of local leaders are down there chasing what we consider to be the #2 biggest convention in our industry to bring the industry professionals here after ASAE, where you joined us just a few months ago. Linda Logan is homesick, but you know that she sends her love from the Sports Commission, and their team is all the way at full tilt right now, preparing for the Women's Final Four. Another chance for our city to stand on the national stage with great women leadership, with champions, with coaches, thousands of coaches coming here for their annual conference to learn and to be the best. And it'll also put us on television for a couple days, which we really love. But as you may have seen in the dispatch just this week, tourism is growing, and I think one of the biggest important numbers within that, it's not the great jobs, 75,000 jobs in our industry, or the economic impact, but that we're growing that important segment of larger national conventions. And a lot of that is thanks to the work of members of council, our county commissioners and the mayor, the Columbus Partnership, who are all working with us to help bring in national, international thought leaders to host their meetings here, which is raising our profile as the place to do events for the future. So we appreciate the support, all the consideration that the city is doing to make this industry grow strategically. It's not just advertising. You guys know it's finding the opinion leaders and the match for Columbus, but to strategically grow and grow jobs in our community. So thank you very much, and obviously we are very supportive of the mayor's proposed budget and the continuation of the bed tax code as written currently. So thank you for that. And Chairman?
Sure, thank you. And we certainly appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit about what that support has meant, but more importantly, it's the engagement. And so as we look at the collaborations that exist in this community, we have the opportunity in 2018 and 2019 as Experience Columbus and the Sports Commission to share Columbus with the world. And we know with the people that will be coming here and the experiences that they'll have, they're going to leave here very impressed and understand the collaborations that we have here between our public sector and our private sector. So thank you once again for not only your financial support, but your community engagement as we look forward to a very successful 2018, 2019, and beyond to share Columbus with the world. Thank you very much.
Also wanted to thank the administration, all of you guys, thank you. I see so many of you in the work that we do. It takes a family, and that's something that those of us who've worked in this building, you learn very quickly. We only get there if we're going to work together. The shared responsibility leads to shared victories, and I really want to thank Tom Katzenmeyer there in the back of the room. I think he gave my pitch better than I ever could, so I just threw my notes out earlier. But what a great partner in GCAC. And the people we have at the Columbus Partnership and in the Human Services. We were just meeting with Margie Pizzuti and Mike Corey the other day to talk about workforce development through the hospitality industry, using our resources and connections to help grow jobs. This is a great time of collaboration in Columbus, and we appreciate your leadership in keeping it going.
Thank you for coming down and in support of the budget. I appreciate the last comment that you made, that you've been working with Margie Pizzuti and Michael Corey from the Human Service Chamber. Again, you know, the nonprofit agencies certainly receive dollars out of the bed tax, and that's because of the great work that's going to happen between bringing the great conventions here, having the arts here, help support the nonprofits. Thank you for that support, and again for the 75,000 jobs, and look forward to the ASAE coming in 2019 and working with you collaboratively. Thanks for coming down. Our next speaker is going to be Jennifer Seifert from the Charitable Pharmacy of Central Ohio. Good evening.
Good evening. I am Jennifer Seifert, a pharmacist and Executive Director of the Charitable Pharmacy of Central Ohio. Thank you, Councilmember Tyson and Councilmember Brown, for this opportunity. And thank you also, Councilmember Tyson, for the visit that we had earlier this year to the pharmacy. We appreciate your dedication to the needs of our community. We also had the delight of 2 visits from the office of U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown's office in 2017. And I highlight these visits because they illuminate the emphasis, the analysis, and the scrutiny right now that is happening around the high cost of prescription medications in the United States. It's no exaggeration to say that we are facing a national emergency. At the Charitable Pharmacy of Central Ohio, we are on the forefront of this emergency as we provide critical medication at no cost to our vulnerable neighbors in Columbus. According to the 2015 Ohio Medicaid Assessment Survey, 24% of adults age 19 and older with an income at 200% or below of the federal poverty level go with unmet prescription needs. In 2017, we met this prescription need by providing $4.6 million in medication to 1,583 unduplicated individuals. Our typical patient has a complicated regimen of 7 medications, and we sit down with them at each visit to provide intense medication counseling and medical follow-up. Thanks in part to donated medication we are able to procure, we turn every $1 invested into $8 worth of medication to our patients. Every day we see patients like Alan, a 57-year-old man who's had 3 strokes in the past 5 years. And for Alan, family and work has always taken priority over his blood pressure and his heart health. But now with disabling strokes, he must take 6 medications daily to live. He can't afford them, and he really doesn't want to take them. But we're able to provide these medications at no cost to him, along with one-on-one medication counseling to ensure that Alan understands his medications, what to expect from them, and why each one is important. He is so grateful for our services, and I truly wish I could pass on to you the gratitude we receive every day as we lift the burden of those who are not able to afford their life-saving medications. With the erosion of the stability provided by the Affordable Care Act, we anticipate 2018 will be a year of challenges for our current and future patients. Your investment in the Charitable Pharmacy of Central Ohio has, in the past, and will allow us to meet an urgent need for medication, increased individual quality of life for our at-risk neighbors, and help them avoid unnecessary, devastating hospitalizations. We hope that once again, we could count on the council support. $15,000 would allow us to provide a multitude of medications to our underserved Columbus residents with critically needed medication support. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Seifert, for coming down, and just appreciate the work that you do at the Charitable Pharmacy. Absolutely, when individuals have medical concerns, and the physicians then prescribe medicine for them to be able to try to live a quality of life, and they cannot afford those medications. It is quite a dilemma. So I definitely appreciate the work that you're doing, and know we have funded you in the past. I know that it's not a part of the budget. It's not a part of the budget that's it's in the mayor's budget now, but certainly is, we've had conversations through the Human Services emergency dollars, as well as, of course, you've heard tonight that there's $3.4 million that this council will determine what they're going to use those dollars for. So thank you for coming down and sharing the need that you have.
Thank you very much for all that you do.
Thank you. And the final speaker for this evening is Mr. Robert, I think it's Grinnell, from the West Scioto Area Zoning Committee. Good evening.
Hi. Madam Chair Tyson, Councilmember Brown. My name is Robert Grinch, and I reside at 3506 Aaron Drive. Today I'm speaking on behalf of the West Scioto Area Commission Zoning Committee. My comments are a continuation of testimony I made on Wednesday, December 6th, at the City Council budget hearing regarding the Public Service and Transportation 2018 budget attended by Department of Public Service Assistant Director Stephen Wenzel. At the December 6th hearing, I made a request that the 2018 council budget included a funding appropriation for a corridor study of the Trabue Road vicinity. Per hearing recommendation comment of Councilmember Stinziano, I subsequently reviewed this matter with members of the West Scioto Commission Zoning Committee at a January 3rd, 2018 meeting and received consensus committee support to pursue this matter. Our full commission will meet on Thursday, January 18, 2018, and if you so desire, I will seek support of the full area commission. Subsequent to December 6th hearing response comments by Transportation Committee Chair Hardin and Director Wenzel, I was contacted by Ryan Lowe, Transportation Engineering Section Manager within the Department of Public Service, seeking clarification of our funding request. I provided a written correspondence to Mr. Lowe and numerous city officials, including the Transportation Chair Hardin, on January 8, 2018. The Trabue Road corridor that changes names to Renner Road near the Walcott intersection is a public right-of-way corridor which extends approximately 6 miles from an east terminus at Riverside Drive to a west terminus at Alton and Darby Creek Road. Along the corridor exists 6 bridge structures, none having sidewalks or bikeways, stretches of roadway that vary from 2-lane to 4 lanes, and coda bus stops that are nothing more than grassy patches adjacent to roadway ditches. In addition to numerous residences along the corridor, ranging from single-family homes to apartment complexes, an elementary school, Meijer and Walmart stores, hotels, and the Raymond Memorial Golf Course, the United Parcel Service Distribution Hub is undergoing an $180 million expansion. Preferred Living will be building 481 apartment units. A 17-acre mixed-use urban commercial development is proposed. The Wagenbrenner Company will be constructing over 20,000 square feet of office space, up to 50,000 square feet of retail space, 440 single-family homes, and 600 apartments. The City of Columbus will also be extending the Columbus-Scioto Trail on 40 acres, and the Columbus and Franklin County Metro Parks will add an 180-acre quarry park. Additional corridor features are described in my correspondence of January 8th to Mr. Lowe. West Scioto area residents believe it would be beneficial for the City of Columbus to fund and provide administrative oversight for 1, preparation of an inventory of current and private development project proposals, plans, and contracts, including roadways, utilities, and park improvement projects, and preparation of a comprehensive study master plan report of the Trabue Road, Renner Road corridor. Though there are multiple governmental jurisdictions and private business interests that must cooperate to ultimately fund, contract, and maintain right-of-way improvements, we believe the City of Columbus is the best authority to fund and lead efforts to assemble an initial comprehensive Trabue Renner Road corridor master plan in a timely manner. We believe a budget allocation for funding of a comprehensive corridor master plan in the forthcoming capital budget is a pressing need and should be included in the current proceedings of Mayor Ginther and Columbus City Council. Thank you.
Excuse me. Thank you for coming down and providing that testimony. I see that Assistant Director Wenzel is in chambers this evening. And are you already aware of this issue? And could you please share some comments about this issue?
Yes, Chair Tyson.
I will follow back up with the gentleman. We are in the process of looking at the request, and as he addressed, these are typical items that we look at during our capital budget, which we will be formulating starting this month and coming to council later this spring. So I know that the Trade Corridor study is within our unfunded request and determining how much capacity there is in the long run, where that falls in the priority. So I will follow back up and chat with them.
Thank you. Again, thank you. I want to say thank you to all the speakers who came down and shared testimony this evening. And the funding provided in the proposed budget will allow us to maintain the great quality of life we have in the city of Columbus. Further, in this budget, we will continue to add to the rainy day fund. $1.2 million will be deposited in 2018. In addition to this, the budget places a high priority on neighborhoods. $7 million is budgeted in the Department of Neighborhoods to support 19 area commissions. My Brother's Keeper, the New Americans Initiative, the creation of the New American Leadership Academy, and our comprehensive neighborhood planning efforts in Linden and the Hilltop. In terms of education, $4.5 million in this budget for Early Start Columbus funding to support the number of pre-K classroom slots and increase the quality of the programs for the Columbus children will attend. In terms of safety, $601.7 million is included for public safety. That includes funding for the mayor's comprehensive neighborhood safety strategy, 70 new police recruits, 80 new fire recruits, and the continued implementation of the body-worn cameras. This budget also supports a smart Columbus team as they implement the building blocks for using transportation powered by holistic solutions and integrated data to give Columbus residents access to opportunities that empower them to live their very best lives. $220,000 is being provided in conjunction with the Franklin County Juvenile Court to expand the Columbus Recreation and Parks Department Jobs Readiness Program, in addition to $600,000 for other youth programs through recreation parks. The few areas I reference are only highlights. As mentioned earlier, the city has continued funding for many important initiatives and services that are helping city residents thrive. As we have done in previous years, council plans to pass this budget in early February. I want to thank everyone who presented again tonight. What makes Columbus an exceptional city is that great people live in it. We value your input, and you still have an opportunity to give us input on this budget until we actually pass the budget. Before I conclude tonight's hearing, I want to thank, first of all, the Finance Director, Joe Lombardi. I know Dan Giangardilla's in this seat tonight, but the entire staff that worked on this budget. I want to thank the administration again for your support on this budget. My fellow council members and their staffs who serve our community with pride each and every day. I want to thank City Council's Legislative Research Office, especially Matt Erickson, who staffs the Finance Committee. I want to thank my staff, Nicole Harper and Carl Williams, and always the hardworking staff of CTV who make these hearings possible. And finally, the residents of our city who make this the best place to live, work, and to raise a family. This hearing is adjourned. Thank you.